This video is part of our Active Trader Setups education series. We're going to be covering scanning longer trend clouds, multi-day and intraday applications today. This video is brought to you by Active Trader Setups Trading Package, a day trader setups company. And be sure to go over to tradermembers.com. We have a lot of reference material over on this website, and most of the website is open to the general public, so a guest can view these as well. Go to products and charts, and you have a complete reference material on each of the charts, how to build the charts from scratch, tutorial series. All these are little videos attached to each one to explain a lot of the indicators, how to set up the charts, and so forth. So that's tradermembers.com is where you find that reference material, and that's ongoing additions going on over there. And go over to activetradersetups.com, and you'll find also an education and training tab that we have links where you can sign up for our email list, and you can also view updated training videos that are links over to the YouTube channel that are grouped into different categories. And this is the education page, and you have the where you can join our email list for when we're going to do our next live Q&A. We'll email you out. That's the only thing we'll email you for. And then we'll put the event here, and then down below here you can see the education video link that are to different playlists on the YouTube channel, and just gives you a quick link over there, as well as some older videos as well. And on the lower part of that page, we have a RSS feed that has the last 5 videos that we posted up on the YouTube channel as well. Quick reference guide to there. And you can follow us on StockTwits and follow us on Twitter. And we appreciate you doing that, and like as many videos as possible. You'll also find reference to our email that's supported at activetradersetups.com, and a link to the YouTube channel, a link to Twitter, as well as you can call us on Skype directly from this website, and you can leave us a message, or if we're online, we will pick up the call. That's our support staff at activetradersetups.com right here, right on the web page. Right here at the very beginning, I just want to throw this image out there. This is a grid with 4 different charts in it, different time frames, so to speak, longer term, shorter term, and the clouds from 2 different cloud settings. And the reason I'm throwing it out here early is I'm fixing to show some futures charts, because I know the futures traders, especially the ones that aren't clients yet, will not sit around and watch all this video. So I'm going to give you a couple of futures charts right here in the beginning. First chart we're looking at is NQ. This is on the upper left hand side, a regular trading hours chart. So everything's calculated off only the regular trading hours, and you'll get a gap down. If it gaps to gap down, it'll be way down here, 931. Just shows the gap down has no price movement, but it still plots the dots on the way down from one day to the next, because we want to keep our clouds calculated on the entire price movement. Look at this big bounce here at 11:06 a.m. It reversed right off this cloud. This is a very big time frame cloud, so to speak, 25 tick setup on the factor here, which is huge for using it on the futures charts. Not quite so big on the NQ as it would be on ES or RTH. But look at this bounce right here. At the same time this occurred, I'm going to bring this chart here back to that time frame. When you got this bounce here and it pulled back, it was pulling back into a much shorter time frame chart. This is a 10 factor, not a 25. There's your bounce on a bullish cloud out to the right. Your blue line is above your yellow line, so that means all this is bullish out here. You got to pull back into the cloud and you held. Pull back to the white line in the cloud, held. Blue line held, so forth. But this was the big thing I wanted to show you, is how it went right to the line and rejected. Looking at a much bigger time frame, this is a 50 factor, so that's a lot of points per dot here. So big long-term trend. When this sold down on August 31st, it went right to this cloud that had already turned bullish way back behind it. It's where the blue line crossed the yellow line, which means that's where this twist, I'm in the lower right-hand quadrant here. When this twist took place was way back here. So we got a bullish cloud forming out to the right. We get a pullback right to the cloud, and you had this big move over the next few days. This was 75.91. It's about 80 points there on the bigger trend setup. So if you're a bigger trend trader and you're not scalping, this would be some charts that'll help you set your charts up for those long-term reversals and to be ready for this move. As you glance at RTY chart, now the one in the upper left is a very big trend. It's a 25 factor. So that's each dot on this chart, there's 10 ticks in a point on the RTY. So that's like 2.5 points per dot. And you can see these pullbacks. This is regular trading hours. The pullback here, you see it went right to the level at 10:13 a.m. Went right down, plotted this close at 1578.50, and the line was at 1578.50. Now I'm getting that out of this data box over here to the right. So you can see it held that twice, 3 times, and it's the cloud level out to your right. Now on that's a pretty big trend. This is a smaller one down here in the bottom right. This is a 6 factor, and it's pretty volatile day. You see how it chopped around, but we don't want to take every setup. We don't want to take the ones that are high probability setups. So you can see if you're scalping around, different times it's bouncing off different lines, and you just want to wait on the right trades. And you can see right, I got too far to the right there. I'm in this left-hand lower. In the afternoon, we went back. We hit our cloud level, which is out to the right here. We don't have the whole margin out to the right. We came down. We hit it again at 1583. We dropped down. We hit it again. So it just kept hitting late in the day. That was your resistance area. So if you're trying to go long, you're going right into a wall. And then right here is at 2:30. Again, regular trading hours. This is a 10 factor chart, RTY as well. It's breaking down. It's got the negative cloud out here. Goes right back to that line. Now, if you're long, what does that give you? It gives you an exit point, and then gives you a big reversal off of that. This goes from 1583.60 all the way down to 79.80, so there's like 4 points on RTY, which is not a bad trade at all. Rebounces right into the white dash line that is the baseline on this cloud out to the right. It gives you a rejection again. Now, while I've been showing this, any of you still looking at this lower right-hand chart, it still had the NQ on it. It hadn't had time to load because it's such a huge amount of data to load that big a chart. Got the ES loading now. This was still our RTY chart. This was extended trading hours where it was bouncing as it was selling off down here on the little chart. On the big chart where it was bouncing at this 78.50 was the extended trading hours cloud as well. So we gave you the top and we gave you the bottom. And I'm going to go back over and look at this same factor on a regular trading hours. You got the same level. The cloud's a little different, but you got the same level. So every time it sold off throughout the day, it kept bouncing off of this 79.10. It's what it has on this chart. And on this chart, it was at 78.50 A little bit different with the calculations of extended trading hours to the standard trading hours, and a little different shape to the cloud itself, but it held the levels. So there's your great reference point to what was going on there. We're trying to load the ES up and give you another quick look at another futures, and then we're going to get into the guts of building these charts and how the scanners work to find them. Same scanners for the ES as it is for the stock charts if you're running regular trading hours, but you want to be on a smaller factor because we're generally running these on 10s and 6s on the futures charts instead of 25s and 50 on the stock charts. And the last futures we're going to look at here is we're going to look at a shorter term 6-factor VL cloud, regular trading hours only. So this was the morning, ran up at 9:30 a.m., gapped into the baseline, rejected very quickly down it over a 2-minute period, right into the cloud level, which the yellow dotted line, remember, is the right side cloud at that time. Right off that cloud, gave a nice bounce, came back later got through the cloud, and it held the cloud back to your left right here. What had been the support area came right off of that there at 30.11. Where did it go back to? Went right to this baseline of the right side cloud again. That's the first resistance area after it got through back through this yellow line of this cloud out to the right. Then it broke up, and what it ran into, I don't know. Maybe a trend line, or some other. So our trades are coming off these lines here. So I don't know why it reversed, but that's where it did reverse. And there probably was a logical explanation for that, looking into extended hours trading or something like that. Sells off again. Remember, in the cloud is resistance. It's harder to get through the cloud. So it gives another bounce. Where did it bounce off of? It bounced off exactly where it had been bouncing before. So you're saying, well, it's just double bottoming. It is. But you can see it's holding these cloud levels that you had there. It's where it was double bottoming at in the first place. Then it went back. Well, what happened this time? It hit this cloud out to the right, because now what has happened is this cloud is way up here. It's twisted. The twist took place. Let's see if we can find where the blue crossed the yellow, or in this case right here. The yellow got above the blue, so we started forming this negative cloud out to the right. I like them better when they're down here, but you can see once it established that level, rejected it once, rejected it twice at 15. Actually, that was 14. The line was 15, and the plot was actually at 14. It reversed, and this time it lost the cloud, third time down, and plunged on down here. Again, we had a negative over on this side at that time. Also, this is called a lagging line. A lot of people don't look at it much, but as it's coming into these clouds, you can see it here hitting these baselines at the same time that was hitting there. These are following these plots down here. It breaks down. Once it breaks down, it goes back. Well, there's no line here on this chart, but it is the line it's actually rejecting is this cloud level back here behind you. We have it on some charts actually plotted as the pink line. You can see that on your key level markers. We have them on 10 and 20 pre-built in the futures chart templates. Key level markers puts the 10s on one chart, 20s on another, and you can make one for 6s as well. So just giving the futures traders a glance at these charts, at these lines, how well the futures interacts with our algorithm-driven cloud levels. And then we're going to get into how to create these charts and more about running the scanners. It's more a stock thing than a futures thing on running the scanners, because the futures you're just watching 2 or 3 symbols, so it's pretty easy just to set your charts up. But I wanted to give the futures traders a look at the charts and and the reason you need to be looking at them. Okay, we're going to continue on with how to set up the charts and to run the scanners, continuing in the video here. First thing I want to show you is this is a grid of 4 charts. And we're going to actually create these. I took this screenshot off a 4K monitor. What we have here is we created a chart with the STS algo bar set to 25 factor, VL cloud. And then we created below it a VLST cloud on the same factor. And then to the right we have the 50 VLST and the 50 VL. Now remember, the VLST is a longer term trend than the VL, and the 25 of course is smaller than a 50. So the bigger the number, and the VLST would be the longest term trend that we've shown, and you can see this stock's well oversold in this long-term trend chart. And when you still have this huge cloud over here, it's got to negotiate through all this. This is resistance. And so multiple days as it come up into this cloud, it continues to work down. This is a support area in a cloud that's out to the right. It's a baseline. You can see it held it here, that last pullback. The pullback as well, if you back up a chart, pull back into the cloud. So the cloud is, all of this has progressed on this chart, has become bullish, and you can see this pullback right here. By going to this cloud, you can see how it held the cloud and resumed this upward momentum it was trying to build up there. So that's what we want to show you, is how multiple clouds can show you a bigger picture. It's like looking at a 1-minute chart, a 10-minute chart, and a 60-minute chart. If you've got a breakout on a 5-minute chart and you can get 6 or 7 bars, then you feel like you accomplished something. Well, if you get a breakout on a 60-minute chart, 6 or 7 bars is a lot bigger move. So we're just going to show you how you'll find that these are in sync as well. Like this pullback here on the 11th went right to the baseline of what was then a bullish cloud. The way you can tell if a cloud was bullish at the time you're reviewing a chart is the blue line here represents the blue line over here. The yellow line represents the yellow line over here. So when this pulled back, the blue was above the yellow, and you were right in this area, right in here. So at that time, you didn't have anything else out to the right when this took place. That was as this was falling blue line, right in this area right here. You ran into this baseline of this cloud, which served as a support. You also ran into the old cloud itself. See how that synced in together? Now, at the same time, this was on the 11th. Let's move a little bit to the right and see what the 50 on the VL, same cloud, bigger showing. It was just right in this area. It didn't make it all the way back down to the cloud itself on this cloud, which it shouldn't have. They're 2 different time frames, 2 different setups, or 2 different data series coming input here. Here's the 11th pulling back into the cloud itself, which is out here, and holding up. And then if you go over to where it was the 11th doing here, it was way down below this on the 11th. So it just shows you how one chart can show you something. Sometimes the lines will line up, they're synced up together between the various cloud indicator, VL versus VLST, and the inputs of 50 and 25. I'm going to show you how to create this grid, and it's really good to use when you're doing a swing trading, looking for swing trading setups. But I also want you to start to understand how all these charts are synced together, and as you're day trading and you got a big breakout, why it can stop, because it runs into a level on another cloud. Now, if you have 2 monitors, you could take our workspace that's named Stock Scanners Only, which is a 1 monitor workspace, and you could add charts to your other monitor. If not, you create you a new workspace and create the charts in that workspace, which you can then run the scans from your stock scanner only, and they will show up in your alerts log over in the other workspace. So what we're trying to do is recreate this chart. We're going to do a 25 ST VL cloud, and then we're going to just replicate that chart. Once we start it, we can change the data from there. So I'm just going to show you how to make that. So if you're making your own one monitor workspace, or you're adding these charts to this workspace and to have them out on the right, I'll run the scanners from here and pick them up in the log, and I'll just load those charts over there. I do this a lot at night when I'm looking for swing trades. So first you got to go to New Chart. It's pretty simple. We're going to select a symbol, and in this case I'm going to just go with one of the last symbols I looked at, FFIV, and it defaulted to the STS algo. It's going to default to whatever you loaded last. So if it had to come up to a minute chart, you would simply just select, or that was the day I did, but a minute, day, whatever it defaults to on your thing. Go down to the very bottom, get your STS algo bar, and you want to make sure that the chart style is set to the lowest thing in your list, STS algo. That's what you want your style to be. And then we want our bars, and I set the bars to 600. And then we want regular trading hours. Now, if you were doing this for futures, you would do your choice of regular trading hours, or use instrument settings, which is the top choice. For your full session, you want instrument settings. And I don't use break it into day. I do auto scale, and you can display it in the box. If you have multiple items on a chart, you don't want to display them all in the box. You just want to display the main one. And so all we're doing is creating this, and I usually change this to do not plot at the bottom, and hit OK. Now this is what your chart looks like when you create an STS algo chart. You don't have anything on the chart. When you do an STS algo wick, you have the algo wick bars that you normally see on a chart. Now all you got to do now is add a couple of indicators. Don't go to indicator, go into your ATS trading system, go down to the STS algo plot, and I'm going to add it twice. So you double click it, puts it in the bottom, and double click it again. And what we're going to do with these is it'll default to a dashed line, and I'm going to change one of them to a dot. The dot, barely can see it on that chart, so I need to make my dash smaller. And I'll make my dot larger, one up or two. Now I can see the dots on there pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and take them up another level to 5. So now you have your basic chart created with your plot. Now I want to duplicate this, and I'm going to set my color at purple from my log so I can load these charts. So I'm just going to go ahead and set it to purple, and then I'm going to replicate it one time. Another thing I want to do first is fix this name down here. I want to rename it, and I want to change it to data all. And now it's going to give me my bar, my setting, and my symbol. Then I'm going to rename it again once I get the clouds on it, and put the name of the clouds like you saw in my image with the VL and VLST. So I got this done. First I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to do it not in a tab but in a new window. because I'm making a grid of multiple charts. And after I do that, I'll get them about equally spaced out here on my monitor. And I want to allow a little room for a data box. So I'm going to move this over a little bit. Right click, data box. One of the things I'm sure you see is when you close one workspace, you go to another one, your data box is gone. And you have to right click and open data box again. Ninja's got a new release about to come out that hopefully is going to fix that. They say it's included in there. So we're going to now add a cloud to this. So we're going to go to the STS folder. We're going to bring in our VL cloud on this one. And we're going to bring in our VLST cloud on the other one. So I'm going to apply that. Then over here, I'm going to do the same thing again. VLST, going to apply that. So now I want to rename first. So I'm going to go here, rename, and all I'm doing is right out to the right of this, get a space, a VL, so I know what cloud is on it. And I'm going to do this one with space VLST. I'll apply that. And now in my grid, I have my 25 VLST down below my 25 VL. So I've got those. And now I'm going to replicate again in a new window. It's going to go right out here. Always on top. Take that off so I can see my chart. Move this down, resize it by dragging it down, get it even with the chart next to it. So now we're going to repeat this process. We're going to duplicate in a new window on this lower chart, size it up, and then we're going to go in and change our data. We've got our clouds right. We just want to change our data to 50 on both of these charts on the right. And that's all you got to do is right click, go to data series, change the 25 to a 50. Everything else is already set. And you see how much your cloud just changed, and we'll do the same thing up here. And now we have our grid created. Now, if you're trading smaller ATR stocks, you could make a 10 on the left, 2 10s, and 2 25s, and go to smaller clouds. The only thing I forgot to do, and I'm not going to do it cloud by cloud, is put the vertical lines in the properties of the cloud for your day breaks. So I went to cloud properties, and I'm going to go down to trading hours. I'm sorry, that wasn't in properties. It should be on data series. So I really should have done this on the very first chart, and I wouldn't have had to redo it, but we're going down to the data series, and you have a trading hours break line, and you can see they have it set to the transparent color. We're going to make it a darker gray just by going down, like the slate gray text color would be good. And you see that just show up on the line on the chart there as a day break. But now I'm going to change it. I want it to be thicker. So I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it a dash or a dash dot. Let's see if that's better. I believe I like that a little bit better. And it gives me a good daybreak line. And you can do that to each chart, but if you'll do that before you make your charts, do it on the very first chart as you replicate, it'll show up every time. So we've got all our charts built, and you definitely want to save your workspace And if you made a separate one, I actually named mine the SDS Algo Chart Grid 1 monitor. If you're using 2 monitors, then you would have these over on your second monitor. And then we're going to look at this. Look at the scanner now that's going to populate these charts. I'm back in the workspace for scanners only. And as I said, if you're using a 2 monitor system, you could have those charts that we just made off on your other monitor. The scanner I'm using is named Algo B 25 Clouds. It's Algo B 25 Clouds, which is here to the left. I renamed mine, and I renamed it by clicking rename. I put fave, and I put AT Algo B Clouds, because that's actually what it's scanning for. And if you go into your alerts, that is actually the name of the alerts, is at the cloud. It's not reversed off of it. It hasn't bounced off of it. It's within a range of that cloud. And it's set depending on the 25 or the 50, of course. I'm going to show you how I got this set up. It's 20 cents plus or minus the line. Well, we're on a 25 factor. So as the scanner is running, it's on bar close, so the dot is going to be present, and it won't be present. It won't check it again till another dot is plotted. So as the stock moves into a line that would be scanned for, and we are scanning for the lag cloud, the current cloud, and the right side cloud. We're also scanning the VL and the VLST cloud. Now you have a chart template called the KL, Key Level Markers 25, and you have one for 50. Each of these cloud lines is plotted on that chart. I'm trying to emphasize the importance of watching that chart as you come into the lines that are on the Key Level Marker 25 or Key Level Marker 50 chart templates. It's taking all of these cloud lines from the VL or the VLST and including them on one chart. So I'm referencing the tradermembers.com site stock charts that you can load from the top menu here, product stock charts. It's open to the public as well. As a guest, you can view this. And we've gone down here to the cloud. Right here is a 25 Algo VL cloud. And the little video that tells about that cloud. It also tells you how to build that chart we just built, except for we're using the template that includes a couple other indicators. And then you go on down and you have the ATS VLST cloud. Again, 25 Algo. So that's the 2 clouds we just created. We created them in the 50 and the 25. So instead of having to have all these charts open when you're day trading, you need to know what the cloud looks like, of course, but it tells you what to reference. But I want to show you the KLM charts that I'm talking about. Right here. It's a key level 50. There's a key level 25. It takes what's on the 50 chart that we just made, takes the VL and the VLST, and it puts all the yellow lines on the chart. So the thicker line represents the VLST that's explained in this video, and the thinner line represents the VL. A yellow dotted line is telling you the value of the right side cloud. A yellow solid line is telling you the value of the current cloud. And the pink line is telling you the value of where the current cloud was back behind us. So we're going to go back to our workspace and get our charts up. Bring one in as a sample here. This is the VL, and if it was a VLST on that key level marker we were just looking at, it's going to take all these yellow lines and plot those on that chart. It's going to take The value back here, that's your pink line, that's the lagging line. This is the current cloud line, is the actual cloud itself. That's the solid yellow, and the dotted yellow represents the right side cloud on that key level marker cloud we were just looking at. So I base everything around the value of the cloud, whether it's to the right, the current, or the lagging. They are always inflection points. The bigger the cloud, the bigger the possible move back off of that inflection point. So it's like looking at, you come in here and you bounce on a 5-minute chart, you get 7 or 8 bars, you get a move. If you bounce off a 60-minute chart, you get 5 or 6 bars, you get a much larger move. So that's the difference in a way of the 25 VL compared to a 50 VLST. It's a much bigger chart. So now we're going to run the scanner and we're going to compare some charts in our grid and get you to start seeing what's going on in all 4 places at one time. And then the key level marker chart I just showed you, that's what you use in a smaller basis. Instead of having to have 4 big charts open, you can have 2 small key level charts open. And when you're hitting those lines, you say, hey, I need to pay attention to this. And you do know how to go reference a bigger cloud. So you can see the key level 25, VLST and VL chart, and same thing on the 50 here. They're tabbed together. I keep mine open in 2 windows so I can see them both at one time. And when you're on one of those and you see the movement into it, then you're going to go back here and you can see I have mine stacked on top of each other. If I want to see the whole cloud, not just the line, I've got a 25 VL, I have a 25 VLST, I have a 50 VL, and further to the right I have a 50 VLST. They're only taking up one spot, but when I need to go reference them, I go to this cloud in my workspace and I start hitting the tabs until I find the one I need, and I can get the whole picture of what the cloud to the right side is telling me along with this price action. So the first thing we need to do is load up some scanners. Now I'm only scanning the 25. This one right here, you could scan any of them you want to. I want to scan the 25, and based on your data package, don't forget, don't overload this. If you're intraday, I'm generally scanning my STS wick cloud over here for the reversals that also picks up the flag patterns in the ATS wick cloud. That's a shorter term because it's a smaller bar technically that has your little normal candlesticks you see on your chart, not the dots, and it gives you the flag pattern and as well as the break reverses to the cloud levels. Now on a big volatility day, I will actually use this. It tells me it's coming into the cloud. It hadn't reversed yet. And I got big price stocks moving around, so they go back and forth off these lines pretty well. And I want to know if we got big movements in stocks, I want to come into the more bigger long trend lines, because if I get a bounce off those lines, I'm going to get a bigger move. But normally I scan this on a normal kind of trading day, and I'm looking at my key level markers, which is showing me these lines. If I happen to get on a chart that's coming into one of those lines, or I'm in a long trade, I want to know where I'm headed to, what I'm going to run into. But actually on a big volatility day, I will actually use this as a scanner, and I'll scan more stocks because there's less of them going to hit these levels. I'll do less stocks on this one, but we're worried about this right here, right now. So I'm going to load some symbols in. And to do that, you just right-click your instrument list. Now, if you hadn't created any instrument list, you need to have you some in here. I have a 400 list on the Trader members website, and you have to be in the member area. We have some lists you can download as text files and import. And I have a top 400 that I actually break down into load 100, 200, 300, and 400 in the smaller list. After hours, of course, you got to have a connection plan that'll give you more than 100 symbols. After hours, you can load more symbols. I would say try to keep it around 200 symbols and get you some alerts if you're looking for swing trade setups. But you have to allow it plenty of time to load. You might put you some symbols loading and then go have dinner or whatever and come back later. All your alerts are going to be right up here. Now, if it's already came into that cloud level and reversed off of it and it's over the tolerance of the 20 cent area, it's not going to show up on the scanner. That don't mean you can't load a symbol list and just go down the symbol list. If I were just going to do that, just scrolling through clouds, I would go over into my watch list so it don't have to load all these calculations, load you a bigger symbol list, and then just toggle through. But I'm going to load some symbols. I'm just going to randomly grab one here. I'm going to go into the load 300, so that's well down in the alphabet. And I'm just going to select those. It's going to populate this. It takes a few minutes sometimes for your symbols to roll into here. You don't need to try to be jumping around to other workspaces till this kind of gets started here. And if you ever click and it don't want to move like I did just now, it's too busy. It can't let you move. Now it's giving me a chance to go to another workspace. So you could take your scanners if you're on one monitor, let them load up, and then switch and go back over to your other workspace that's got your chart grid in it. If you're on a 2 monitor, then you've got your new clouds charts out to the right or left in your other monitor. So we're going to let these load, and you can see it's already putting some results up here, the ones that loaded the quickest, and it says loading, and it's got to work down this whole list and do all the calculations. So it won't even let me slide the bar down because it's so busy over here. You got to understand how many calculations it's doing. It's actually creating these charts with 600 bars to create this alert. So now our loading has gone away in the top tab here, so it's loaded all these instruments up and populated the area so that it can run the scanners, and it's put some results up here in our log. Several different stocks have been logged in here, so we're going to focus on those and go to our grid. Now I've set the mouse so that it's right here set to global so that it's moving between each chart and can keep the crosshairs in the same place on the chart. For your benefit, you really, if you're running scans and once you're not learning and you're at the spot you're running scans to actually looking for trades, of course you don't need to look back that far. I'm trying to go back and show you, like right here on the right lower chart where we had this pullback. I'll move this chart a little bit further back. It had ran up, and you can watch this chart on the lower left as we're running up right here, and then we move sideways into this sell-off area. I really want you to watch this chart right up here in the upper right. Upper left, I'm sorry. Right here, where you've got this big sell-off that was going on right there. Watch it on the chart. You're on this cloud, and you're in this big sell-off, upper left chart. You just ran up and hit your yellow line prior right there, and then as you're in this huge sell-off, this is multiple dollar move, $1.50, and it's like, okay, I'm short, I'm day trading. Why did it abruptly reverse? Look at your right side lower cloud and your right side upper cloud. These are both on 50, so they're bigger time frame. And it's in the cloud, and we know we're going to flag in the cloud, and we're going to try to break out. So as it got to the bottom of the cloud, that dot right there is a value of 126.70. Let me see, make sure I'm in the right place. I'm not sure what panel it's looking at on the right, so when we're over here, we got so many charts. So I know we got a yellow dotted line right here, right around 127 area that you can see on this chart that's marking the right side of this cloud. It's right lower chart. So as it pulled back, it hit the right side cloud level right here, right lower chart, and it bounced. So that big giant sell-off that you were in on the upper left chart, that's where it failed. So you see how you can use the bigger chart for an anticipated target in your trade. So your upper right is your shortest term. Your lower right is still a 25, but it's the next cloud up. You can see it's in a bullish, big, wide green cloud. You can see your upper right, that's your 50 VL. It's just started the cloud. That's the upper right, right here to the right. It's broke out above its cloud. It has the twist over here. The blue dotted line is above the yellow dotted line. Yellow dotted line represents the cloud. It pulls right back into its upper cloud and holds that support, that of the white line, happens to line up right down here on the lower right quadrant with the cloud itself. And do you see how everything's just in sync? How the one chart syncs in with the next chart, especially when you're looking at the VL and the VLST on the same algo feed. You will actually have one line on one chart match up with a line on the other cloud. I've loaded NKTR off the alert. It says the 25 VLST, and this is the source of your scan. So if you got more than one scan tab loaded with symbols, this is the tab you're coming out of. And remember, I renamed mine favorite at Algo B25 Clouds. And the alert is the actual at the 25 VLST current cloud. So we pull down. This is the current cloud out to the right. One thing I didn't do on these charts when I made them, I actually had already made them for myself on my chart, is I gave them more margin. So you go to properties, and this 8 here in the right side margin, change that to about a 240 and apply. And now we can see this cloud out here. Sometimes you have to squeeze a little bit to see some more, but we got it all out there. You see the right side of it changing. That's because you're not seeing it all. When it quits changing, you got it all in view. So as this cloud is rising, currently it's at 139.02. Excuse me, I was on the wrong symbol. Here we go. We're rising here. This is the 50 VL. We need the 25 VLST, which is down here. 25 VLST. Slide the chart all the way over. And where are we at? We're at the current cloud. That's what it says. 25 VLST, current cloud, triggered at 2025. So we get back down here. I'm going to move all the way to the right. Look at your name, 25 VLST. This is your current cloud. It's there. It just got to the current cloud setting. And it knows it's there. That's what it's scanning for. Now, what's the first thing you see on this chart? You see that it's not a day trading chart because it's full of daybreak lines. So this chart a few days ago broke down in this cloud, which is a 50 VL, was twisting over, and it started into this downtrend. It's consolidating below that cloud. I'm looking at the upper right-hand cloud, and then it flushes. Now, at the same time, right here, look at your upper left-hand cloud, because that's your shortest cloud. It had already been in the downtrend. Let me see if I can slide it over. Right in these days, July the 8th, it broke down below the cloud, rejected it, and You have to look at your other right side clouds and see what you see, the other charts. You're right in this area right there is where you were on this one, the right hand. There's a lot of days running together. So if you're a swing trader or you're buying puts, as this progresses along, each one of these little regressions back to the mean here gives you another sell-off into this chart, and then finally it just really went down. And you can see the upper left hand, it tried to go back to a bullish cloud. It failed, twisted it back down, and then you can see it was already in the lower right in a downtrend. We know that. It's addressing the upper right here. Down here, it's coming into the bottom of these clouds. So you can see how they intermingle together to give you a bigger picture. Now I'm going to take off this global because it's hard for me to point back and forth for you. Okay, we're moving right along. Remember, you can run these scans intraday or after hours. I run these intraday on bigger ATR stocks, looking for setups as well. And if you run these intraday, you may be scanning for your setups for your swing trades. Here's PSX, Phillips Petroleum. This is our smallest upper left-hand chart here, our smallest chart for trend, long-term, short-term trend kind of thing. And you see this breakdown of the cloud. When it gets right here, your cloud, look at your flat cloud is here, comes down, upper left-hand chart we're looking at, and then it makes this next drop. And right here, look at the little blue line. Right here is this little spot right here on the right. So this is where the cloud was. It was in this downturn. It could have easily came on back up and twisted over, and this could have went up maybe to here, pulled back and went on up, but it didn't. It rejected. Where did it reject? It rejected what was the white line, the base line, probably to the tick. But on this chart, it won't show the highest high. You'd have to look at a 1 minute chart, but that's where the dot ended up on that baseline. All right, at 102.43. The actual dot there closed at 102.43. Now, does that mean it didn't go a few cents higher? No. On the dots, it won't tell you if it went a few cents higher. It could have. It did make another dot up, which would have been another 25 cents. Remember, the factors on the stock charts are 1 penny per factor value. So 25 factor is 25 cents. So this was setting here at the end of that day. This is at 20 minutes till 3, or till 4, excuse me, is when this plotted, and the next, it actually came right back down by the end of the day. It already rejected that. The next morning, this stock could, if it gapped down, it could have dots way down here at 9:30, but it didn't gap down. It opened right about here at 101.71. So this is a day trade stock. It was set up. You could build you a short list off of this. The next morning, it opens right in this 101.70 area, and you can see the time, 9:33, 9:56. It was around 101.25, and by 10:30, you had a $2 move. You could also set yourself up some options off of this at the latter part of that day if you said, hey, I think this is going down. So that's just a way you can run the scanner. If this had happened intraday at 12 o'clock, you might have got that sell-off before the end of that day. It stays on a great short list for days. It just kept going down, going down. This was in the early part of August. This was August the 1st right here on this particular chart. Now, our scan result here was the PSX at the 25 VL right side cloud, which is this cloud. The dotted line represents the right side. It happens to be at what was the current cloud. That current cloud's fell down now. I made the margin bigger so we could see the whole cloud over there. So you see what's happening out here on the right. We're zigzagging around here. This is not twisted yet, so when this is still down here and you're getting up above it, you're probably going to get a pullback. And it made some movements here intraday. Remember, these are 25 cents a piece, so that's $1 and something turned up, $1 and something turned down. Look where it landed down here. That dot plotted 102.18. This white line is 102.18 at the time it hit it. Now the white line started moving up. That's the baseline of the right side cloud. So a lot of times that baseline will be a support area. You could be in a downtrend and go back and visit the white line and go back down and so forth. So you're getting the idea now as you look at these charts on multiple time frames. It's just like looking at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 60 minutes. As I said before, you start to see the interactions that may tell you, like if you're about to go long on something and you see it running into a cloud level on a bigger chart, you might want to rethink that trade. This is a chart of QRVO. Remember, on this smallest chart on the upper left, if you've got multiple lines drawn on that chart, it's probably not a day trade chart. That don't mean you can't day trade it, but it's not going to give big moves every single day. You learn the stocks that you trade the best and that react the best to you, and that's what you build your list out of. Now I want you to take a look at this chart down on the bottom. This is a 50 on a VLST, which is a very big longer term trend chart, longer trend. And you can see as it interacted back here, coming back, holding the line, move up for 2 days. And when it got back down below the cloud, the right side cloud, that's what the yellow dotted line is this cloud out here that had not twisted back up yet. And as it visited that, it actually rejected. Now this particular dot is at 71.63 and the line is at 71.88. It might have actually printed 88, and that's what we use our algo wick bars, the little red and green bars. It may have actually gone up there. It did not go 25 cents above 63, which would have made another dot on the 88 line. So it got probably very close to it and rejected it again here. And then you can see this particular day it went above it and rejected it again. And then finally it broke through. And you can see up here on the same day that it came into this cloud, it came into the bottom of this cloud, which was much wider over here in the negative aspect at that time. Remember, this is for setting up swing trades as well as knowing where you're running into bigger trend, longer trend resistance on your day trading, as well as looking for swing trades. And to give you reference, remember your KL, key level, 25 and 50 chart templates will take, like on the left here, the 25 VL and the 25 VLST. It plots the yellow line, the right side line, and the line behind us on both of these charts on one chart and gives you a very quick reference. And then you go to this to look at what else might be going on. Just taking a quick glance at this Lily chart, you can see the bigger trend down here as it broke up, went back right to the yellow line, held it, gave a bounce there at that time, then it broke down, and now it's testing that again on your 50 VL, which is a pretty long-term trend chart here. You can see when it was below the yellow line, it kept rejecting. Finally broke out above it, came back, retested it, held the blue line on the cloud. That's the right side cloud, almost to the white line. And then once it broke down here, it went back and revisited this cloud right when this twist was taking place out here. The blue line crossing the yellow line to the right, that's what this dotted line, blue dotted line is in the upper right hand chart right here. The blue dotted line crossing the yellow dotted line, that was happening out here to the right at that time. We're down here in price, comes right into the bottom of the cloud and fails. Big down day the next day. Now this was actually a gap down the next day because that's 933. So this opened right about here and sold off really fast and turned and gave a big bounce. And when it bounced, it went right back to the cloud again. That's negotiating its way through here for a few days. It's probably about to break up here. Once this twist takes place, if it's going to break up, though, it'll break up and probably come back and retest and set up a long trade off the retest. We like the retracement if we're not day trading. We don't like to take this breakout right here. We like to catch the pullback and then take the swing trade or the multi-day trade. So this is, remember where your scans are coming from. That's from your Algo B clouds. So Algo B 25 clouds is where we're running this scan from, and we had set up that other workspace to look at the results of the flags and so forth, the alert log. Thanks for watching the video. Keep studying. If you need any help, send us an email. Remember, we do have some tutoring available. I hope I put enough videos out that you don't need the tutoring. But if you're not getting it, please reach out to us. This video is brought to you by Active Trader Setups Trading Package, a day trader setups company.